when we were walking around, you referred to Natal a couple of times. You seem very enthusiastic about what you can do with that tool.
I think I'm enthusiastic about the change that Natal gives, because it's different. You know, it just means that we are forced as an industry and as designers to think in a very different way, and it's good for that to happen. You know, when we get complacent, we think that we know how it's done. That's when we get stale. And you can see this in other entertainment mediums. You know, for a long time, I think in the sort of 90s, late 90s, TV was getting pretty stale, and then suddenly out of nowhere came, you know, programs like Lost, and you know, they suddenly we all thought, oh, TV in 24, TV is different again. And there needs to be these step changes in every industry where you kind of have to go back to the drawing board.
But do we have that technology now that you're more or less talking about? That emotive response, for example, you showed Milo at E3. Do we have that technology now? Is it really in Natal?
I think Natal, by not giving you anything in your hands, and that's a very brave step from Microsoft, because it would have been so tempting to give you Natal stuff and something in your hand. I think by not putting anything in your hand, what that does is it makes it much more likely that we are going to face this big, hard to climb mountain, which is that emotional connection which a player has with a character on screen. And at the moment we don't have to face it, because your emotional connection is through your two thumbs. Now your emotional connection is by yourself and your face and your voice and your emotion and your body, and that forces us as designers to face that. It's a really interesting line, and it kind of came to me when I first saw Natal, is, you know, maybe the characters we create in a game can meet you, the player. And if you actually think about what that means, it actually means it's talking about the distance between, you know, a player and, you know, the emotion that's in the game.
I've been thinking about that ever since Natal and everything, also since Milo, and what you're saying now, that us as gamers, or I shouldn't use the word hardcore, but I've been gaming since I was 4 years old. I'm used to meeting characters through the thumbsticks, and I get those feelings. What will Natal offer me when it comes to that part?
I think you've hit the nail on the head. Is because you've been doing this through 4, your brain can decipher the emotions through the controller, and you get the emotion. But from most other people that aren't used to controllers or find them frustrating, they don't even begin to get the same emotion that you do. And maybe that Natal is in a way more for them. But I'd say this to you, is that if you're thinking that Natal is going to give you another version of an FPS, you're just not thinking broadly enough. You know, after all, you know, it was the invention of the mouse that kind of gave us computing as it is today, not the invention of the microprocessor. Microprocessors were around before. It needed to be the mouse that's there, and that's how we ended up controlling our PCs. Imagine, you know, when they were coming up with that device, I think it was someone at Hewlett Packard, the original mouse was actually controlled with your feet. Now, you can't imagine controlling a PC with your feet now, but that, you know, it took that, the mouse was the real revolution of the PC, not, you know, the Intel processor. And you know, who's to say that Natal could end up creating something which you and I can't even imagine now, because it forces us to approach technology in a completely different way. Before the mouse, we only had the keyboard. And that's why if you look at, it's a fascinating thing, look at all the films in Hollywood before mice were invented. They all were terminals with flashing dots, and people walked up to them and now you look at it, it's all about, you know, interacting with your hands and the mice. And that just one little device, you know, that one 995 device changed the way, everything about computing. You know, and things like Natal can be a bigger change, but it is hard to imagine. I mean, could you imagine using a spreadsheet without a mouse? It would be insanely hard. You'd be scrolling all over the place. You can see how one device makes a difference.
So is the game industry ready to exploit the possibilities of Natal, you think?
I think it's, but my personal opinion is that the first wave of titles that come out will be, they'll be really good and really polished and great, I'm sure, but they'll be kind of the obvious stuff. I mean, even when a new console comes out, it takes us a while to get used to it and kind of get our heads around it. And I think when something like Natal comes out, it really takes a while. And our point to the Wii is that Wii Sports is fantastic. And this is a personal opinion. I still think it's the best. I haven't seen anything that's, kind of reproved the motion of the Wiimote. I'm sure there is things, but I haven't seen much in the way of it.
And that's actually my personal fear, because when you look at the Wii titles, there's a couple of really good ones, like Super Mario Galaxy, the Wii Sports games, and then you have very much the rest, which are very much filled with crap. Sorry, Nintendo, but sad that's true. But how's it going with well, we're talking about Natal, and of course we just have to ask about how is work coming along with Fable 3?
Yes, I mean Fable 3 is we're doing Fable 3 and we're doing Milo. Fable 3 we're making a big announcement about Fable 3 in the next couple of weeks.
At X10, you'll be there?
Yes, we'll be there. I hope I haven't spoilt some horrible PR surprise. Gulp. But yeah, we'll be making some announcements about Fable 3, and there's some very big things happening in Fable. Bigger than you think, and it's going to really upset people. I'm really scared when I go out and tell people what it is. They're going to get super pissed off. They really are. But it's the right thing to do, man. I'm sure it's the right thing to do.
And now we know that whatever you're going to say at X10, that's going to be in the game.
Absolutely. For sure. And I'll demonstrate it.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time.